Yes, recording is on. Okay, so let's quickly review what we went through last time. So the most fundamental thing in the language. Okay, Amy, hi, Danita. You just joined the meeting and we are recording it. So please be aware of that. And we are reviewing what we went through last time. So in my humble opinion, the most fundamental thing in any programming language is understanding the variables, the types of the variables, because it depends how the operators, and operators are things or functions, what you can do on your variables. So the way these operators would behave very much depend on the type of the variable. So we learned that there are numbers, there are strings. Numbers may also have some flavors. Hi, Jay. Jay, we are recording this meeting, so welcome. You are almost on time.
Thank you very much. Actually, I was on the phone, so I was on time.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so so numbers and strings are sort of kind of simple numbers, but strings are not as simple as numbers. Then there are compound data structures, so compound variables, which are actually data structures like lists, tuples, and dictionaries. And can anyone tell me the difference between the list and the tuple? Okay.
So with the tuples, you have fewer options, don't you? But it's like a lighter data solution, maybe better performance.
Correct. So the tuple is have limited functionality. You cannot mute it. It's immutable. You cannot change it, but it is lighter and it takes less code. I would say in some cases it comes very handy, that limitation. In some cases it may hurt you. So it is also, so I'm suggesting you learning this type command. So you type and then in brackets you put the name of your variable or less the variable and you check the type. Then it will guarantee you that your variable would indeed perform as you expect. However, if you're using, and we will be using Spider a lot, in Spider you can also see the type of the variable. So we looked at strings, and strings are a little bit, hi, Richard. Richard, we are recording this meeting. You're welcome. Okay, so strings, you can, in strings, the characters are indexed, so you can retrieve every character you want by the string number. And we did some exercise on that, so I hope you remember this. So so there are sets, and sets have very important difference from lists and tuples. Sets are collections of unique elements. So if you create a set like prime numbers and odd numbers, and then you combine them together, then you would see that the number 3 is only repeated once because it's a combination of unique elements. So it is very handy to use sets. Hi, Deirdre. We are recording this meeting. So it's very useful when you deal with the kind of a dimension of a data. Let's say you have color, red, blue, green, and you know that the colors do not repeat themselves, right? So unique numbers there, unique characters there. So you can do operations on strings, also on sets. You can subtract them, you can add them, and we will be using sets in the exercise. So dictionaries have a key and a value, and you can search the dictionary, and that's why they're named dictionaries. And as you may see, dictionary is denoted by curly brackets, and so are the sets, and that's again reinforces my recommendation to check the data types, because you may not know what you're creating, right? And you may get
Hey,
Python.
Mark,
Yes, please.
could you zoom in a little bit, please?
Oh, sorry. Yes, how is that?
It's better, thank you.
Sorry. Yes, sorry. Thank you. Please tell me what to do. So sets and the dictionaries, they are using same kind of a syntax, and that's really important to check what you're creating when you create a variable. So we looked a little bit on the operators, like assignment signs, arithmetic operations, comparison, logical, I believe. Okay, there are also membership operators, and let's just be aware that they exist. And I suggest you may do like a small homework with those, just to practice and just to remember that they exist. Sometimes they're handy. So some operations on lists, you can, please guys, put yourself on mute. We hear somebody. Okay, so to do math in Python, we have to import math module. And when we will need to do some string operations, we will have to import a string module. So you can create and write your own functions. And the important concept, so let's say this is an example of a very simple function. My function is defined as it returns y, and y is computed as x power 2, and you define x inside of the function, and that definition of x would only exist inside of the function. So if earlier you defined x as 10, and then you would like use your function and put 5 in the middle, right? And so in brackets, so x is 5. So the function will return you 25, x power 2. But if you try to call a variable x, it will give you 10 because globally it is 10. So again, be aware that there is a scope, and your variable may be defined within a scope or may be defined globally. Now, something I would like you to know, and we will touch it in the exercise today, conditionals. So if, else if, we will practice with it, and actually maybe it will go, I mean, depending on how fast we will go. So that is actually one of the kind of main features of the programming languages, that you have ability to put conditionals. And another very important feature of programming languages is loops. And so maybe a for loop, and there is a condition for, and we will practice it today. There may be a while loop, and we will look at it today too. And there may be loops with continue and break. There are also iterators, and iterators are sort of loops, but much easier. They will just, each time they give you next number. So what is interesting when you make about lists, right, is that lists may be, you may just type the values of your list, or you may generate the list. You can put in a formula in, right? And I would say that's pretty much it. I would like to review from the slides. Okay, here is a cheat sheet for you. Here is a link where you can get it in a full size, and it may be helpful, right? So let's put the presentation away for a while, and let's do the exercise. And do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So the exercise I would like us to do is create a scalable data set. So skills that we will practice during this exercise, and I've sent you the HTML file, right? You got it all, right? You have it.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we will request for input. We will do some operations on strings, on lists, on sets. We will use random choice functionality. Random is very useful for data science. That's why I put it into this exercise. And there are some flavors to it, and we will probably do one of those. Okay, we will see how it will go. We will use some floor division. We will use logical operation. We will do loops. We will assemble a data frame. We will use time function, conditionals, and scope to define our variables. So imagine, okay, so first of all, how this data set came to my mind is I was asked to do some benchmark testing on DSVD, and I needed the data. And so I wrote this script with fictional data, fake data. I decided to do a database of aliens, and I can generate any number of records I want, right? So just think that you are like in Men in Black agency and you are creating a database of real aliens. Only in this case, we will be just faking everything. So the alien would have name, planet of origin, age, height, weight, bench press. We want to know how strong they are, and IQ, right? So after the exercise, we should have something like that. So this is column on the left is index, the name, planet, age, and so on and so forth. So as you may see, all names are 4 characters long. There is like a vowel in the third place, so there must be a rule to do that, right? And the planet name is a combination of letters and numbers, and there is a dash in it. And again, I followed some kind of a sci-fi classification system, so kind of a good exercise. Okay, so now please open your spiders. I would like you very much, okay, open your spiders. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you that I'm using, as you may see, Jupyter Notebook, and we will be using it too. However, at this point, a spider is way better because you can see the variable and you can tune the code line by line, right? But if you would like to share the results as I'm doing with you, then you can use Jupyter and we will use it. So you can do what you can do. You can just copy this from the HTML file sent you. So you can like copy this. Do you see spider on my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Sorry, I was doing something, so let me clean it up. So first of all, that is also important skill. I'm erasing all user-defined variables that I did from previous. And to clean up the console, you use Control-L. And now everything is clean. And here I can paste this text from my from the HTML file, and you may see there are triangles. And you see here the string is imported but not used. Random is imported, not used. Pandas is imported but not used. And you see over here, I commented the line with NumPy, and Pandas includes NumPy. But I'm not sure, well, it may not work for everyone, because if you use the older version, so I'm not sure. I don't have the older version yet. But we will find out, and then we will uncomment it and check it. Okay, so what we can do now, we can highlight this all and we can execute these lines, and looks like everything is fine. And let's make an remember that code is being read more often than it is written, and we would be most likely reading it most than anyone else. So think about yourself and help yourself with comments and spaces. So you see the new line where the kind of blocks of code. There is a way to highlight a block of code in Spider, but I will show you. Let's not be distracted. Okay, so we have that. So now, step 2. Step 2 is to use another functionality of the language, is to generate a request for input. Can anyone tell me what do you think this int over here means?
Integer?
Correct. I'm enforcing the input, so it would be an integer. Okay, so let's execute these lines one by one. And you see now in a console, we ask for a number of records to be generated. And let's do 100 records. Also, you may see there is space over here, and space comes from here, right? So we enter the 100, and we can execute the other line. And the number of planet, I suggest making it 10. And I'm just trying to make everything go fast, right? So, by the way, note over here, the block over here is sort of colored because the program is busy, and it is busy waiting for, actually, it is, yes, waiting for the, for is it black? Okay. Okay, we'll see it later. Okay, so we have that, all right? Now we get into something that is more involved, and that is for you to practice a little bit, to practice your skills on strings. You can see the screen good. Shall I increase it, or shall I take a full screen, or you see what's happening? Okay, I guess you see. Okay, so we are at step 3, and this is how I have created the names for the aliens. So first of all, I have created manually myself, I have created a variable called vowels, right? And I did it just by typing the vowels, and you have to put it in quotation, so the Python would know that this is indeed a string. So let's execute it. I did execute it. By the way, number of records 10, number of planes. Why number of planes is not there? So let's do it again. Oh God. Something is not. Okay. Number of plants is there. So now let's deal with walls. We have walls now. So it's a string, and here is the sequence of walls. And now I'm using a string functionality of string module. And what I'm doing there is, let's execute it. So we have consonants, right? So I took from string module. So the syntax is string dot ASCII lowercase. So I took from the string module, I took the ASCII codes, and they contain vowels and consonants. And what I did, I put set in front of it to enforce that this is set, that this is all unique, which it is. But it also gives me an ability to do a difference of two sets. So I converted by this set over here, I converted the vowels into set, and I took the difference, and now I have consonants. I may, since I would like to have the names of our aliens capitalized, I create another variable, consonants with the capital C, and I may use the functionality of a string module, consonants upper. And this gives me uppercases. The other thing that we will need to construct all these planets, and actually some other mostly for the planets, right? So we need numbers. So for numbers, I just typed in the numbers, and that is the list of numbers. And I would say, here is what I would like you to practice. So first of all, what you can do a little bit, play a little bit with the string functionality. What you can do, like vowels, just eliminate one or two characters over here, execute it again, and check, and you may see that they would appear in consonants. Just see how it works, but then return it. Let me know when you will be ready. Just the way to do it, kind of a safest way to do it, is just take my variable vowel over here and comment it, right? And then create your own, and later on you would uncomment it. Do we have a success? Please note, I cannot see your if you send in the messages, I do not see them now. So you have to say. Okay, can we continue? Have you played enough with vowels and consonants?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, by the way, just something to show you. It's kind of good programming. So when I put comment over here, there is a triangle, and it is telling on this line that consonant variable is using a variable vowel, and that the variable vowel is undefined. And this is because I commented there. When I remove it, so this triangle will disappear, right? So be very vigilant of this, check those, right? They're telling something. Not exactly everything is clear from these messages, but they're, I mean, don't ignore them. Okay, so that was a training of your ability to do operations on the sets, right? So now as to the numbers. So because it is 10 numbers, I can just type them. But let's kind of do an exercise because it's an important way of doing it. So we can do a list comprehension. We can do something like that. And we got list n exactly same as this. So if we would compare, that was probably faster to type than this. But if you need more than 10, you need 100 or something, you can use list comprehension, right? And it takes less space in memory, a little bit more on computing, because every time you would be calling this variable n, the computation would have to happen, but the storage wise it is easier. So I think it's important functionality for you to be aware of. So I suggest do an exercise and change this range to maybe 100, 90, 50 of your choice. See what will happen, execute it, see what will happen to your variable here, right? Let's say do like 50. So as you may see, it gives you a list, it gives you 50. So I will keep it here, but I will comment it. Okay, so you practiced how, I hope you did, and let me know if not. So you practice how to comprehend the list with the formula, and formula could be more complex. It's not just for n in, it may be n squared and whatever. It may be a series formula in here for n, like. So let's keep going with our. So I suggest you practice with it a little bit, so you would remember that this functionality exists, right? So now let's. So what we have created is a set of supporting variables. We will use vowels, we'll use consonant, and we will use uppercase consonants and numbers to create the data in our fictions data set, right? So we defined and requested for input for number of records, and now we are on step 4. And on step 4, we will create a list of planets. We start with the creating lists, supporting lists, all planets and planets number, and you will see why I'm doing it this way. We will use while loop, right? A while loop is defined that there is a variable p. We start with 1, and while p would be less than the number of planets, that was the input we asked for, right? It was 10, right? If you remember. We will go and we will create a name, so for a planet. And the name of a planet, if you recall, should look like that. It's a uppercase consonant, a number, uppercase consonant, dash, and 3 numbers, right? So over here, we will be doing an integer, right? We will join the random choice. Okay, here comes the random choice. So random choice is a very useful functionality, very frequently used by data scientists. So we'll choose a random number out of numbers, out of that set of numbers, right? Then we will take, and you see, again, I'm putting str. What do you think str means here?
String.
Correct. So I'm forcing this result to be a string because I'm using a function that is only available for strings. So I'm joining the number, so with another number and another number. And this is planet number, and so it, as you may see, it would be an integer, so it's probably, sorry, not probably, right? It is that part of the planet name, right? This the last part of the planet name because it's a number, right? But in order to join separate numbers selected randomly from the list of numbers, I convert them first to string, and then altogether I enforce them to be an integer. Once I have that, we go into planet name, and planet name is join random choice consonants, so it's capitalized consonant plus string random choice number, that is this number in the middle, right? And then another consonant. And once this is done, I'm appending, so this is a list. List is mutable. List can be changed, and so we're adding planet number to all planet numbers list over here. And then all planets would be planet number. Sorry, we'll be append planet name. Okay, so we have planet number, we have planet name, right? So planet numbers are stored in this list, and this list use planet number from this list, right? And once we did this, that would generate record number 1, and then we increase p, assign it +1, so it was 1, p +1, so what do you think p would be now? Okay, it would be 2, right? So this is an assignment operator. It is p equals, in other words, it could be written like p equals p +1. And again, it is not equal sign. So I'm saying it is equal sign, but for Python, it is not equal sign. It is a assignment sign. Okay, so we did all of that, and we can highlight it and execute it. And now we have, let me make it bigger. And now we have new variables, right? We have, first of all, P. Those are the number of iterations we went from 1. We have planet name. We have planet number. And as a result of this loop, we have 10 planets. All planets are here, right? Those are the names of the planets. And we used, in constructing this list, we've been using planet number, and there, as you see, 193, 193, 219, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that was a while loop, and that was kind of a handful in it. So I suggest you just digest it a little bit, ponder about it. If you have questions, please ask. Let's not rush through this. That was quite a bit of functionality. Okay, no questions. So, yes? Are we good?
I'm good.
Okay, that was a question, no? Just for comparison and to practice a little bit more, here is how to create same results, this time with the for loop. And let's also copy it. Do not execute, do not rush to execute it. So for loop is a little bit different from the while loop. It's also iteration over some number in the range, and for the p will take in the range right now. So since we're using the range function, we do not need to define the initial value for p. The range gives us like all numbers. Let's actually see how the range function works. So let's use some number, let's say, which we have not used, like m equals range 10, right? Let's do that. Let's look where m is. Oh, have we executed it? No. No, we have. So where is m? Let's see. Okay, M is in the range from 0 to 10, but I'm not seeing M in my Python. Okay, welcome to the club. Something is happening from time to time, and maybe I have too many things done in it. Maybe it's a memory issue, but M is not shown over here, like variable M. But we know it is strange, very strange. We know it works. Okay, so sorry about that. That's some issues with my spider. I think it is upset that I'm abusing it, right? Am I just blind? Let's do this. Okay, here it is. I guess it's a functionality. It's not a, so then the number is not shown, but it's working. Okay, so M is spider is fine. And that's again, if something happens to you, something you do not expect, it may be a feature because it's created by Python gods, and those Python gods are actually mere mortal, and there may be some inconsistencies. So, for example, the range, for example, is not creating a variable. It's creating a variable. We know it created a variable because we saw this. Oh, you know what we can do? We can, to verify that the variable is indeed created. I'm saying that spider is not showing some of the, again, M disappeared. And we can do list M. Okay, here it is. Okay, so here is how range function works, right? So it goes, it's also iteration inside, but it creates a list of integers from 0 to 1. So if we put 10, it would be from 0 to 1. If we will put 1, 10, and execute it, it would be a list of starting from 1 to 9. Because we'll set, I'm stopping at the range because it's a very important function, and not only because it's used in loops, we used it in also creating generating lists. So, and we also discovered that, at least in my version of Spider does not show M created as a range function among variables. So be aware. So not everything may work as you expect it to be. Okay, so with that done, we can now, so the rest of this loop would be exactly, the construction of the name would be exactly as it was in the while loop, right? So we can do this. Oh, hold on a second. Try to memorize the first name of the planet over here, right? NIF 193, right? Or you may do a screenshot of it. New. And so lists. And let's do it with the follow-up now. And Python did a job, and look at the all planets and planets numbers. They have changed, right? If you doubt me, here is our screenshot, right? And the result is different because we used random function. And this is exactly how random function is working, right? So every time you call it, it gives you a different number. There is actually a way to create a kind of a consistent, sorry, not consistent, repeat the random choice again, and we will be using this again, but that's, I would say, random and range are very, very useful functionality. We'll be using it a lot. I would like you to give another minute or two to just ponder about the for loop and how it is different from the while loop. And if you would like to try something, then I would suggest you comment it and do another try, right? And you may limit it to, for example, 2 characters, or maybe you may want to add another character to the planet name, or do something to play with it, right?
Hi, Mark. It's Deidre.
Yes.
I didn't want to hold up the class. I'm not getting any results in the variable explorer for Spider. It just stays blank, so I'm not sure.
Okay, look over here. Have you clicked on variable explorer here?
I thought I did. Let me check. Yes. And there was a weird message that came up, so I'm not sure if that's why. So I'll check it out after class, I guess.
Okay, that's really hard to help you on it. So it's not, you clicked and you still don't see any variables, right?
Yeah, everything is blank.
Okay, what you can do for now, you can use this type command. So type, and in brackets you would put the name of the variable, like all planets, all right?
Okay.
And it should give you the name that is a list. So you can do that. So that is very upsetting. And how did you get your spider? Is it came with Anaconda? Deidre?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got it with Anaconda distribution?
Yes, I guess. It's always been there, so I am not sure.
I would say this first thing to try is uninstall it and reinstall it.
Okay.
And then make sure that in this window you indeed, when you click the view and you select what you view, and that would be indeed the variable explorer, because maybe you just haven't configured to see it, right? But if you clicked on the tab, that should pretty much give it to you. So play first with view and then go. Okay, so let's go further in our quest for alien life in the universe. So we have planets now, and so in step 6, that's kind of a handful piece of code, right? Control C. I don't need that. Okay, so I pasted the code from that HTML file. It is step 6. We will be using for loop. And now we are populating sorry, we're creating the lists, and every list is a column, right? We're creating the lists. We already have planets, and now we're creating lists for names, ages, height, weight, so on, right? So how are we doing that? So first thing we need to create, okay, where are we? Step 6. And again, look at the code. So when I have comment with a step number, so it's way easier for me to find where we were. And do same for you. You finish the block of code, put some kind of a separation, right? And actually, let me show you a trick. You can put this, and this would give us highlight the entire block of code I put in, right? So double percentage point. And so at the end of it, okay. So now this is the cell of code. And when I did cut and paste, you see Python is complaining code name is undefined, and it's undefined because we haven't executed this line, right? And this is undefined, and so on and so forth. So first thing is we're going through is creation of a name. And again, we're using same random choice, and I'm using string functionality. And in this case, I do not need any fancy things as doing sets or forcing the variable name to be integers or not, because we're dealing with the same, we're not changing the type of the variable over here, right? So we just take first, randomly take first letter from consonants, then we add random choice of another consonant, then we put a vowel, and then we put another consonant. So, and that should give us the name, which is sounds like, sounds I cannot even say it, Psuk, right? Psak, or whatever, Jmaf. Aliens, you know. So that should look like that, right? So once we create a name, and again, it's a loop. So n starts with its range, a number of records. So it starts with 1. And then we create first name, and we do append. Where do we have lists? Oh, that's good. I haven't executed this. Hold on a second. I think I missed a step. Step 5, of course. In step 5, we need to create these lists for where we can store the results. So the loop is working, the loop is creating something, right? But we need to store the results. And since I started doing this code cells, okay. So that would be a block of code that would create all of the supporting lists. What we can do, we can click on it, and then we can use this button over here, and it will run the current cell, right? So it makes things moving a little bit faster, makes you a little bit more productive with Spider. So we did that, and we have lists, heights, IQs, names, bench presses, and all of the lists are empty now. because the loop have not worked yet, right? Okay, so once we will create name and we will fill in the, so in one, how to say it, one loop in a loop, we will create in the first iteration, right? We'll create name and add it to the list. Then we'll create, okay, that's kind of a, okay, I'm using a different function, triangular. This is random, but different random, so we will get back to that later. We will use it in our statistics classes. So let's say for now, let's not confuse ourselves, we just copy it. So let's say we are creating planet index, then planet from, and then we will get planets. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We created a name for an alien, and then we use a planet index of the planet data planet list to randomly call a planet name, right? So we randomly assign an alien a name from previously created planets. Okay, I'm sorry if it's a little bit too confusing for you, but I mean, at least it will instill some fear of God, maybe, of Python gods. Okay, sorry. So this block is doing, just copy it for now, and maybe at home you can go carefully through it and see how it all works. So we create the assignment of a planet for an alien, then we will give alien an age, and again we compute this age using this triangular function, and we use the floor division. And can anyone tell me what floor division is? Okay, in floor division, so we would like to have an age as an integer. So, and in the division, we may not get that. So the floor division just drops the decimal points. It just gives us the numbers and not the decimal points. So then we append the ages list, and then same way we go from create height, and it's a little bit more complicated with height, but it would be, I think, interesting for you to analyze that, and weight, and whatever else is that. And let's run this block of code. Okay, hold on a second. That is the button to run the block of code. Okay, so now we have planets, and we have, where do we have aliens? Okay, we don't have aliens yet, but we have ages. So we have what we filled in this list, like names. So we have ages, we have heights, we have IQs, we have names. So we have everything we need for so we have all columns, all lists that would become columns of this data frame, right? So are you with me? Do you have same results?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So let's again kind of analyze again. So what functionality we used over here? We used the random. We used the random triangular. Okay. So random is just random is you just pick one number. If you have list of 10 and you do random choice, you pick 1 out of 10. And if you would, let's say, do this for quite some time, you would realize that you picked up. So let's say you're picking up a random number out of 10, and you do it 100 times, and you would realize that frequency of number 3 would be exactly 10 or 9 or maybe 11. So it does like uniform distribution, right? If you use triangular, the distribution is not uniform. It is skewed. It is skewed, and it has some mean, right? That's why I use this triangular over here. And let's see how we'll be on time. We may go a little bit deeper into that. But now, and so I was trying to do that so we can have some statistical trends that we can later verify and play. So we use floor division that gives us integer part of the once we divide, do the division, right? We've been updating the once, I mean, on every step of the loop, we've been updating the lists, and we have like several lists, right? We've been updating the lists and writing it to the lists. Once the code ran through the entire loop, and the entire loop is defined by number of records, and number of records we've chosen 100, right? So we have 100 records here, right? Names, 100 records. And we had 100 stupid names. So now we would like to combine all of these lists into a data frame, right? So we can assemble the data frame and we can export it. So copy the code. Be very vigilant about spaces, right? Don't confuse Python with extra indents. Okay, so step 7, we are creating a data frame and we're using dictionary. And look, so here is the dictionary that we create. So we, at the beginning, we have imported Pandas module SPD just to save us some time on typing, right? So we could call it import Pandas. And in that case, we would type over here pandas data frame to let Python know that the functionality is coming from pandas module. Since we imported it as PD, so we just use PD, we saved us some typing. So the data frame is, so this is brackets, sorry, yes, brackets. And then inside we have curly brackets. And over here we call it, and we give it name. For the column, which is name in first place. And so this is the key of the dictionary, and this is a value of the dictionary. And value of the dictionary is indeed the whole list, right? The list that we created over here, right? This list names, right? This list names, right? Look, there was variable name, which had scope defined within the function, the loop function. So that's over here we have name, as a string. That is because of this quotations, right? So we will be going over pandas. That's our next training. That's a big and important functionality, very useful for data science for now. And actually, it just shows you that you do not need to know all of the functionality to use it. So if you know just that, you can create data frames from lists. And maybe that's all you will need for quite some time. So I'm executing this. And let's see, did we get aliens anywhere? Yes, aliens, data frame. It has 100 rows and 7 columns. And here are the names of the columns. And what we can do also, we can click on it. And here is our data frame, right? By the way, you can do same for pretty much anything over here, right? So this is the list. We get it here. You get the index, you get the type for every single element. And in list, you may have elements of different types, but in this case, they're all the same. So that is the biggest convenience. I mean, this variable explorer to me is one of the biggest things in a Spider, very useful. Apparently, we realized that Python does not show all of the variables. For example, it doesn't show sets, and we now know that it doesn't show ranges, right? Lists created by ranges, and there is some rationale in it. But let's just know that, I mean, everything will be created by humans, and there may be some inconsistencies, and they may have good reasons for that, but they may puzzle us. Just be aware, it's kind of an enchanted forest. You come in and there are some things they may not make perfect sense to work them differently, but they don't. Okay, so now we have created this data frame, and all these variables and this data frame, they exist only in memory. If something happens to our computer right now, and we will lose memory, lose the battery, then all this will disappear. So once you created something valuable, so first of all, you can save the code, right? And I haven't been doing that, but I can do now. So I save the code. I do it in Python training in data science fall in Python, and we will call it scalable data set, and we will give it a date. It is 11, 12, 9. All right. So you can save, working in Spider, you can save your code, but you can also save your results. You can export your results. And this is a feature to export your results. And this is how it is written. So it's aliens to CSV. And here is my name path. And this is something for you to how to say, get used to. So single slashes would not work. So for example, I will go into Explorer, and in Explorer I will, let me find another here. If I will do this and copy this string, you see there are single slashes. Single backslashes, and that is how Windows does it. But in Python, you would have to manually go and change backslashes either into forward slashes or into double, put a second slash. This is how it was done in Unix, and Microsoft decided to go different, but now we all have to suffer, but that's something to many programming languages are using this kind of notation. So in my cases, in my case, I already put everything in, and so I can run it, this line. So I watch the console. In console, there is no screaming from Python and error, something is wrong, everything seems to be fine. So I'm going back to the Explorer. Where did I put it? Okay, Python training, Python. So it is Python training. Sorry, data science, Python. You see, it's kind of a, gives me that wonderful red sign that something new happened. Okay, here is aliens 100. Here is today's date. And this is a wonderful CSV file. The file that we created, right? Detour, we may go here, we may click on aliens again. So we may see that this indeed this file that we've been able to create, and we've been successfully able to export it into Excel. And so the question is, do you know how you're doing and how you're able to absorb this kind of skills? Are you okay? Can we do something else, or you would like to ponder a little bit? Have questions?
Yeah, it seemed to go okay. One of the problems I had initially was not making the indent as I was copying and pasting your code, but I figured that out. And then another issue I had at the end was I got an error message saying file not found error, no such file in the directory with documents and so forth. So I got the error that possibly you were looking for when you were doing your
I'm trying to find the alien CSV as well. If you don't have that alien CSV in your documents, then it's going to come up with an error. So I'm not sure where I can get that CSV.
So you have not been able to export it? That's what you guys said?
Yeah, I think it was looking for a file that was already on the directory, perhaps, or else maybe the double backslashes caused us an issue, whereas it didn't cause you an issue. There's no need to like switch out or give a special command to use the double backslash, right?
No, that's, but please check if you put all double slashes in place. If you have to put the name in, because otherwise it doesn't know how to how to name it, right? You see it's aliens 100, then 100 cannot come from anything. So you have, I mean,
The problem is I don't think I have that CSV file at all on my computer. I'm not sure where to download it.
It should be created. It should be this data frame aliens.
Oh, I see.
This command creates the CSV file, exports aliens into this file.
I have the data frame. Mine is the same as yours with the same number of columns and records, but it didn't create the file for me. I got an error.
Okay, so then I'm pretty positive the issue is somewhere here. And in my case, did you copy it? You shouldn't.
Yeah, I did. I should not. Is that what you're saying?
You should, yeah. Of course, you should not, because you say it's Acuities, the name of my company is my file structure. Of course, it wouldn't work. What you should do is just take C, for example, documents. So cut this all out and see how it will work. Cut this out.
That gave me the same error I had before, that there was no such file or directory.
Do you have C or okay, do the following. Open your Explorer, find a directory you want to put it in. So for example, downloads, right? I click on downloads. I click here. It gives, okay, hold on a second. Why downloads is just, oh, that's Windows. Go to documents, yes, go to documents, this PC. Okay, you have to have drive letter, right?
Yes, we have to have the drive letter.
You have to have the drive letter, column, double slashes, and put the file name. And that may be you may call it whatever you want. And then you should have it. If documents are right where it is, where I have it, right? Has anyone been successful to export the file? No one? Okay, let me check that. Let me take my GSA computer and see how I can export it from there. The problem is I don't have Spider on it, but I will figure out. All I need to see is the file structure. It may not be C, it may be another drivelet, it may be D. Just a second. Just a sec. Oh, no, that's probably no. I need my CAC card. Sorry. Okay, I will take it as an action item for me to figure out what's wrong. Sorry, not wrong. What's different on the GSA computers, and I will text that line to you. Right?
Thank you, Mark.
Yes. So trust me, it works, or it should work, or if it doesn't work, then we have an issue which needs to be resolved, and we will. So the kind of the most important thing to remember is that whatever you do in Python is sitting in the memory. Unless you export it, your results are not saved. So when you save the script, you save the script only. You don't save your variables you created. So you can, if you save the script, you can always recreate everything, but the results itself have not been saved. So let's go. Let's go to our exercise. So what happens in life is that requirements creep. And somebody would say, hey, you created a database of aliens, and your aliens are sexless. So why won't you add sexes to your aliens? And this is something I would like you to take home and practice. So the way to do it, there are some hints. So first of all, by the way, not just sex. We would like to know how long it takes to create this data set. And that may be a very useful function if you like doing like not 100 records, or maybe 1,000 records, or maybe 10,000 records. So, so first additional requirement, add function to measure time. And it is, we need to import module time. You have to put a line start and equal time. That's how you call the function. And this, you put this at the beginning of the code. You put end at the end of the code. And then you can compute the runtime, and it would be end minus start. And you can print it. So those are several lines. They are all one after another, but it's not how it should work. That line start should be at the beginning, that should be at the end, that should be after this line. I mean, runtime, you compute end from start, you already have to have end and start times, and you print it after that, right? So you would have to go through the code and think where you should put in the time. And then the next requirement is to give your alien sexes, right? And again, so you need to create a list, and you have to create this list using random function, maybe male, female, and I decided to stop at that. I think we have enough alien sexes, right? And then you have to add column sex to the aliens database, and here is the line how to do that. So you have to think where you put sexes, where you put this in the code. And also, if this would be, you would be successful with that, I would like you to do another thing. I would like you to add a conditional. So if sex is female, then you should modify the name. You should modify the name, so the name would be, so it would become like this. So you should use add an vowel at the end of the name. So your data set would look like that. And by the way, so you can check yourself, and I did everything for you to check you, but please don't look at this. Don't look at the final code. Try to do this on your own. Try to do it yourself. It's kind of a good practice to see where you can find the right place in the code to put a new function, additional function. It's sort of a little bit of a code maintenance, right? And you would let me know next time how successful you were, and I'm sure you would be. So my action item is to find the file structure on the JSA computer, and I think I will be able to do it shortly after this meeting. And we're about at the end. And so are there questions, comments?
This was great, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, so it wasn't
Thank you.
It wasn't too much, it wasn't too little.
I think it was just right.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I hope you have fun and you kind of have powers right now to create alien races and determine the IQs, and then we will see the averages and all kinds of statistics for these aliens. So if you sign for my statistics class, then I would say you would realize we would be using a lot of Python there, because Python is becoming like a number one language for data science, and statistics will do a lot of statistical exercises in Python. So, and that's why I pushed Python ahead of statistics. So next week, I believe, is statistics class, and that would be pretty much lecture, but then we'll start using tools, and statistical tools would be Excel, of course, a little bit of R, and a lot of Python. And then we'll catch up. I mean, this will give you enough feeling to, so while we'll be doing statistical exercises in Python, so we'll focus on what we would like to realize statistically rather than how we're doing it. Okay, any other comments, wishes? Oh, by the way, you're welcome. If you would have issues with this assignment, home assignment, please feel free to email me. Also, I would say there is no way to become not just proficient, but even like on a fair footing with any computing language without doing a lot of work in it. The saying is you need to have at least 500 hours. Some people say 10,000 hours. So from now on, please try to allocate about maybe half an hour a day to practice a little bit. And experiment. If there is a question and you do not know why certain thing is done that way, change it to what you think how it should done. Ran into some issues. One of the best thing to learn is to make mistakes, because then you spend more time on that thing, more chances to remember it, and you think more about it. So I mean, I can give you an overview and kind of things that I think you should learn, but remembering them comes only with practice. Okay. Anyone want to say anything? Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And see you next session. I'm stopping sharing and I'm stopping the recording.